COROS recently released the COROS Pace 4 and they sent it to me early to get my hands used to it, dip my toes in the water, get a feel for what the 4 is like in comparison to the Pace Pro and the Pace 3. Obviously I have all three of them and I've had a really good experience using all of them. COROS and I have an affiliation where anything you guys buy through my link, I get some money back from it, which is a really nice supportive way of helping me in the channel. If you guys are interested in doing that, check the description below. If you do get something today, you get 25% off a armband from any watch purchase, which I think is really cool. I think today might be the last day they're doing. It's like kind of like a Black Friday special. But that being said, I want to talk specifically about the Pace 4 today because I have been having an absolute blast using this thing. One of the biggest changes from the Pace 3 to the Pace 4 is that AMOLED screen. You can kind of tell just looking at these back to back. I mean, it's kind of hard to see the screen on this one, and then I take this one out and boom, look at how bright that is. Once you switch over from the Pace 3 to an AMOLED screen like the Pace Pro or 4, there's no going back. I'll tell you what, I never had an issue with this screen when I used the Pace 3. I love the Pace 3. The moment I went to the Pace Pro, I could never go back, genuinely. It is so nice how beautiful the screen looks. It looks like a phone screen, which is crazy. And the big difference between the Pace 4 and the Pace Pro is actually size. So this comes with a bigger screen versus the Pace 4. This is a little bit lighter. You also have like 32 gigabytes of storage on the Pace Pro. I didn't use any of the storage. Like, you could add songs to a library and just play songs offline. You can also get offline maps on the Pace Pro. The Pace 4 doesn't have that. The Pace 4 does, however, have another button that the Pace 3 and Pace Pro don't have. It's on, if your scroll wheel is on this side, sorry, it's a little awkward. My scroll wheel is on this side and my lap split is right here. And then right here is a third button, which brings up an actual map that you can see while you're running and see where you went. So you can have this whole screen of, like, if you wanted to make a heart, you could just go run the outline of a heart. It's really cool. I had a lot of fun finding that out and playing around with it. I run obviously in the dark, so it's really cool to be able to kind of just see everything that I'm doing, how the route that I'm taking, because it's not always as apparent. And it'd just be really nice if you wanted to get a map on there, you know, kind of go from there. But if you're going in out and back, it'd be super beneficial to have. So those are pretty much the big differences between these two specifically. They are very similar in battery life. I found that the Pace Pro had a little bit of better battery life when I was using them at the same time, but it also should be mentioned that I have this thing set to like the max with brightness and satellite, and you know, I have touch screen on. There also is voice on, well, I shouldn't say voice. There is a microphone in this watch to where when you finish your runs, you can speak into it and it'll take audio notes that you can also pull up on the app afterwards, which is a really cool, just like neat little, I don't know, just addition, I guess you could say. You know, it's interesting how as watches develop, you have these little cool things in each one. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. My contact at COROS talked to me about it, and I had no idea it was even there at first. I was like, oh yeah, because I thought it was referring to having like voice commands, like when it says like mile 1. And I was like, oh, you know, I run really early in the morning. I normally don't listen to the audio, but I have to switch it out. And then I figured out what they were talking about. I was like, oh my God. There you can take notes after your run, which is crazy. So that is also a pretty big difference between the Pace Pro and Pace 4. The price ranging is interesting because this is $250. This is $350. Granted, right now a lot of places have it discounted to, I believe, $300. So it's at the moment a $50 difference, but normally it is $100. And I want to say you could probably get this for under $200 at the moment with how old it is, obviously, and the discounts you can find. So all of the watches are relatively, I want to say, budget friendly, but if you're spending over $100, nothing's budget friendly. These are probably the best watch you can get for the money that you're going to pay, in my opinion. I've talked about this many times. I think this is the best watch you could buy that's not breaking, you know, into the $400, $500, $600 marks, because you can get $1,000 watch if you wanted to. In my opinion, I mean, I'm running up to 90, 95 miles a week, and I've never needed anything more than this. I've run the most miles in my life with this watch and this watch, and I've never had an issue. I will say the battery life is really nice for having an AMOLED screen and having it at the maximum brightness. I'm getting between like basically up to 5 days with the Pace 4, which again, I mean, I'm probably going to get a little bit more with the Pace Pro depending on how I'm using them. If I'm using this at the maximum brightness, which I really don't need to be, I could probably turn it down, but it's just so nice to have that little convenience. You know, you could squeeze out maybe a full week with the Pace 4 if you're running every day or not running too much, I should say. But I think the big question a lot of people want to know is like, is it worth upgrading? I know a couple people have dropped comments. Is the upgrade worth it? I would say if you have the Pace Pro, I don't think there's necessarily a reason to go from the Pace Pro to the Pace 4. The difference is, you know, you have more storage and offline maps versus audio notes and a map feature where you can pull up the map with a button, which, I mean, there's ways you can pull through those things in this anyway. So it's like, obviously you can't take audio notes. I should mention that. But I think with the Pace Pro, like you probably are fine with the Pace Pro unless you would prefer a lighter watch. But in a sense, it's almost not exactly an upgrade going from the Pace 4 to the Pace Pro or going from the Pace Pro to the Pace 4. I think they offer different things. So I don't think either of them is technically an upgrade or even a downgrade. I think if you go from the Pace 3 or whatever watch you have and you choose to pick up a Pace Pro or a Pace 4, either option is an upgrade. Neither one has a clear-cut advantage in my mind because they're so similar in battery life. You know, this has the bigger screen. This has an extra button that pulls up the map, which is super cool. I think it's really dependent on what you use the watch for. Do you need offline maps? If that's a yes, then you're going to go Pace 4 or Pace Pro, sorry. If you would prefer a smaller, lighter watch that still has phenomenal battery life, the Pace 4 is obviously your go-to. If you would just prefer being able to talk to a watch after your run just to record some audio notes, like this is going to be a great option for you. I think that having the Pace 3 at this point, if you had it for a while, I think it's worth upgrading to a Pace 4 or a Pace Pro. It's something that, you know, maybe toss it on the Christmas list or whatnot, look for a birthday. But if you just got the Pace 3, I mean, the Pace 3 is a great watch. I wouldn't complain about having just the Pace 3. I probably wouldn't have upgraded my watch if COROS hadn't sent me out one of these two unless this watch broke, because it was such a handy, durable, did everything I needed it to type of watch. I would have went in upgrades like getting a armband, heart rate monitor, obviously, or even the COROS Pod 2. Those are two things that I think work hand in hand with this and these two watches. I think it's such a nice thing to add on, an addition, if you will. So if you've had this for a while and you're thinking about upgrading, if you know the battery life is slowly drained over time, because that's how electronics work, obviously the longer you have something, the battery is going to slowly die over time. It doesn't last forever. Granted, this thing is an absolute tank. It lasted so long for me, and now I don't use it, but even if I needed to, I could charge it up and it'd be ready to go. If you're in a position where you want to upgrade, I think right now I'd lean towards the Pace 4 for me personally from the Pace 3 or just any upgrade in general, because it is the cheaper option, and I do really like the smallness and the lightness of this watch. As much as I love my Pace Pro, when I put the Pace Pro on, I think it might just because my wrists are so small. It's like a noticeable watch on my wrist. I'm like, it kind of pops out on the ends and looks a little weird on my wrist, where the Pace 4 just like fits perfectly. So maybe it's just because I have small wrists. I'm just a small person in general, but I think I would maybe lean towards the Pace 4 a little bit more than I would the Pace Pro. But at the same time, if you want the bigger screen, if you want offline maps, that type of thing, if you like listening to music and you want to download music, I mean, this is going to be your go-to. 32 gigabytes of storage on this is really nice for somebody who wants to download a ton of music and maps and whatnot. But on the other hand, again, I just really like the Pace 4. Since I got sent it a couple weeks ago, I've been using it every single day for all of my runs, and I haven't really considered switching back to the Pace Pro. So I think I'm going to be sticking with the Pace 4, at least for now. You know, maybe I want to add music or offline maps. I mean, I don't really run trails, which is the primary reason you'd use offline maps, but you never know. At the moment though, I'm definitely sticking with the Pace 4. I've had a great time using it. I'm trying to just give you guys my personal experiences and thoughts with this type of watch. If you're looking for a more in-depth watch review, I know Kofuzi just made a video talking about the Pace 4 and all, comparing it to a ton of different watches. I haven't watched it yet because I wanted to make my video before I got influenced by other people, so I haven't watched any reviews on the Pace 4, so I'm just trying to give my uncut, raw thoughts, which is why I've just done one full through length video. I didn't cut this, I didn't stop it for anything. I'm hoping that you guys can just hear my unfiltered thoughts as it pertains to the Pace 4. And that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about the Pace 4 or any of the other COROS products on the market right now, let me know. I'd be happy to talk to you guys about it in the comment section. And if you do pick up something, especially if you're using my link, let me know. I really appreciate it. You guys are the absolute best. I love you guys. Appreciate the support. That being said, though, take care. Love all things. Peace out.